I'm just recording this on my YouTube page. Let me make sure it's
Oh, okay. So I shouldn't eat. All right.
no. This is just for record for me. This ain't to be viewed. This is for me to record because I didn't want to do a vocal recording. I was like, I can just use StreamYard and see my sister. Let's see your channel. Let me just make sure this is. Bam! It's good. Okay. Perfect. All right. It is recording. Okay. So, yeah. So when Canvas went down yesterday, it threw everything backwards. So I didn't know if my assignments were still going to be due at the same time because he ended up moving some things. And I still have sent him an email just to make sure. But I'm like, let me just get this interview out the way because I can type it up and send it in by 5 and be done for the weekend because he canceled everything else. And it's just a 2-week class. I was like, I love this. I cannot.
2-week class. What kind of class is that?
Right. It's a summer class, but it's he calls it it's called an intercession.
Oh.
Yeah. And, me being on the side of academia, a lot of this language I don't use, and I'm learning a lot of it by being in this class. But yeah, this class is just 2 weeks. So we're at the end, and right when we're at the end and everybody's warming up, the whole system shut down. So yeah, but luckily it's not this assignment. The assignments he had weren't too crazy. Okay, so here we go with the questionos. First question: where did you grow up?
I grew up.
Now I know these answers, but there are questions I have to ask.
Okay. So I grew up in Washington, D.C. I also grew up in the suburbs of, I guess that's considered Southern Maryland. Yep. In Upper Marlboro.
Okay. What kinds of schools did you attend for elementary and middle school? Public, private, or tell me what this word is. Parochial? Parochial. Okay.
That's what I went to, parochial school. I actually went to public kindergarten and was in private/parochial, which is basically Catholic based.
Okay.
Religion-based school.
Oh, see, this is why I
went
like
to a co-ed parochial school for for elementary and middle, and then went to an all-girl private parochial school for high school.
Okay. Learning something. Parochial. Now I can use that word in random. Like, why are you using that word? I don't know. I just learned it, and I know what it means. Let's see. Grew up in one place or moved around?
One place for the most part.
Okay. Of course, I know this. Do you have any older or younger siblings?
All older. Yes, 2 sisters. Hands in my butts.
Where did you attend high school?
It was called Elizabeth Seton High School. St. Elizabeth Seton. Bladensburg, Maryland.
Can you spell Seton?
Seton.
Seton. Okay. How would you describe the place you grew up?
White.
Period.
Who? I mean, in all honesty, it was very white. It wasn't very culturally diverse. I will say that. But it was a very southern area, so you got to experience all of the things that little Southern belles got to do. So, cotillions and all of that stuff. Crab feasts and shrimp boils. So you got to experience the Southern culture. But it was where I grew up initially was predominantly white. It was not culturally diverse at all.
Hold 1 second. Hey, I'm doing an interview. Oh no, I canceled all the appointments this morning. I just ain't got the chance to call y'all. Okay, because I want to come by and check on that once I finish this interview. Okay. Bye-bye. Yeah, the elevators in my mom's apartment are shut down. She is not able to, anyway, all the things.
So yeah, not culturally diverse, but I guess I could say most of my friends that I have now are friends that I made during that time of my life.
Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm. With the non-culturally diverse spaces, but not knowing that it wasn't culturally diverse till it was brought to your attention kind of thing?
No, I always knew. We being myself and my sisters, we were always the 3 Black girls that were kind of like the only Black girls. So in my elementary school, there were 3 other Black people in my class.
Mm-hmm.
None of which were my complexion, all of which were biracial. So I was really like the darkest one. Then when I went to high school, it was nothing but Black people. So I was like, whoa, okay. It was a little
different. Same color people as me.
Right. Like, oh. Okay. Yeah. So I felt it. And then once I got to high school, it was like, oh.
This is really a thing to be Black.
Right. And you
around other Black people. My life. So touching on that, did you enjoy particular subjects in middle or high school?
I enjoyed English and I enjoyed all the sciences.
Mm-hmm. Nerd.
Yep.
And how would you describe your high school?
Hard. It was a college preparatory parochial school, so we were doing college level work in high school.
Okay. What were some of the strongest memories you have of high school? Now these questions are coming from my professor, so
they're coming from your professor. Good Lord.
Mm-hmm. It's going to delve deeper into it, but I guess it's like the more surface questions to ask.
Wait, what was the question again?
What were some of the strongest memories you have of high school?
I mean, I think I remember because it was a private school, there was a really big emphasis on God and religion. Mm-hmm. Which at that time, I wasn't old enough to understand organized religion. And so that was really my strongest memory. Everything we did was based on religion. But I also had fun. I mean, I was in the choir, I was in the band. So I had different social outlets. So I think it was mainly that, just the fact that there were so many different ways for me to express myself in high school.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Did your parents or siblings attend college? If so, which?
Parents, no. Siblings, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sherry, oldest, bachelor's. Gina, bachelor's and master's.
How do you spell Sherry?
Sherri.
You said she got her master's and bachelor's.
Mm-hmm. Regina has a bachelor's and a master's. Sherry only has a bachelor's.
Okay, gotcha. Regina. And Regina, who went? What schools did they go to?
University of Maryland for their undergrad. College Park. It's University of Maryland at College Park.
Okay.
And then Gina got her master's at UNCG.
That's right. Okay. Okay. What did you first start? Oh, no, I'm sorry. When did you first start to think about college?
Honestly, it wasn't until I was an adult, because and when I say adult, I'd probably say early 20s, and that's because I watched my parents try to figure out how to pay for college for my other siblings, and it was pretty much not expressed, but it was pretty much understood that there was no money for me to go to college. So I didn't think about it till I got old enough to understand how to get like financial aid, all of that stuff, and realize, oh, I could go to a community college. Okay. And so that it was, I was in my 20s. I was in my
You started as graduating from a community college then?
So I didn't go to college right out of high school. I took some time and worked. And then I think like 2 years after that, I started at the community college, at PG Community College. And I took courses for horticulture. Yep.
Oh, this makes so much sense.
You're learning something you didn't know about me.
I didn't know, but it doesn't stick too far out from who you are. See, what do you remember what led you to start thinking? But you already answered that. That's good. Okay. What were your main considerations with thinking about where to apply to college?
So community college I chose because I realized at that time I wanted to go to college, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like the whole college experience. Most of my friends didn't go to college, so there wasn't like this burning desire to go to college. I had 2 of my besties who went away and actually like got degrees and teaching and all that, but that wasn't my thing. And so most of my other friends, we all worked together, so I wanted to work. But then after, I don't know, like I said, in my 20s, I was just kind of like, okay, this college thing might not be bad. And then for the bachelor's, it was when I actually got my job at Winston-Salem State. Dr. Powell was like, you're here, it's covered, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to finish, as long as you finish. And so I was in my 30s when I started my bachelor's. So it was for the bachelor's, it was just kind of like, what do you call it? Location. It was just, I worked here. It made sense. It was free.
And it worked out perfectly for you.
Right. And it was like, why not? I'd be stupid not to go to school for free.
And you were pregnant while you were in school. Yeah.
Yeah. I started the position here. Hey, Mimi. Hi. I'm doing an interview, lovey. Give me. Okay, that's fine. I'll come back. Come back. Okay. How long? Give me 30 minutes. Okay, that's fine. Sorry. I started trying to think. I started before I had already had a child by then. So Elijah was already 5. And then I started my undergrad, the bachelor's, and then I finished, literally, I had Ian in December and graduated that next spring.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Describe the teachers at your high school. I don't know why I went backwards.
Quirky. I had one teacher, my English teacher. She was a weird lady. She never washed her hair.
Oh, what?
But she would, like, for Halloween, I can remember this to this day. She spray painted her hair, and that spray paint stayed in her hair for almost an entire semester. Like, yeah.
Heck no.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Ooh.
But I remember, I didn't have a lot of culturally diverse teachers, but the ones that I did have, like my English teacher, one of my English teachers was a Black lady. She was tough, but she was good. were loving. I remember they were very loving. And I still, to this day, my palest mother is what we call, I'm her daughter of color. She's my palest mother. She was my home ec teacher. And to this day, we still write letters to each other back and forth. And we, call each other and text and whatnot. So
I love that. I wish I could find any of my high school teachers.
She's the only one. She is the one. She is the reason I love sewing.
Teachers make such a major impact on people.
They do. They do.
It doesn't stop. It continues.
Yep.
Into adulthood. Let's see. Okay. Did your high school provide college advisement, counseling? And what was that like?
So if I were to be honest, they did, but it wasn't something that they did for everybody. It was kind of like, if you're thinking about college, come on and talk to me. And so, there was like a specific group of students you always saw in the guidance counselor's office. But it wasn't like, come on Friday from 12 to 2 and meet college advice. No, they didn't really advertise it like that. It was just kind of like, we knew that we had an advisor for college life, but it wasn't, we weren't like
so strange.
We weren't like pushed to meet with the advisor to look at college.
Right.
They weren't walking around having things for us to go to encourage us to go to college. It was just kind of like, it's there if you want it. If not, yeah.
That is interesting, because I feel like that plays a role in the way in which
people make decisions about college.
Yeah.
And I do think that. I think if there had been more of a focus on outreach to all students, encouraging all students to meet the college advisors and learn about college. And, what if I had learned about financial aid and all of that, then that could have changed me going from community college to a 4-year college and not having to have my parents pay for anything. But that wasn't something that they really talked about. And when I think about it, it was predominantly the white students who took that guidance.
Yep. Or even were considered and given it.
Correct. Yeah.
And I was saying, like, with that, it's like, if you look at being in school at that time, if you weren't like generationally connected to going to college, or just some kind of exposure, you weren't considered, not even like thinking about that student, but even the student even thinking about it. Right. And before, there was a big push with like financial aid and having an understanding of how financial aid could support a child or a young person to go to college. It was normally people already had their trust funds or whatever set up where, or some kind of savings that the family did. So the kid it was already in the plan. But if it wasn't in your plan, it's not in your thoughts. It's not in you're not considering that. You're like, okay, let me continue my job at Walmart or, whatever it is. That's.
And I think being a first, it didn't dawn on me that I'm a first generation until I was at my son's graduation. And somebody said something about first gen, and my sister looked at me and she says, we're first gen. And I was like, and then I realized
all three of y'all are first gen.
Yes.
Together.
My mother and father did not go to college.
Right. But if you had siblings that went to school before you, that doesn't make you not first gen? Okay. Because I've always tried to figure that out, because I don't think anybody's ever, like, right now is probably the first true conversation I had about it. But
no, it's based on your parents. So your grandparents. So if my grandparents had gone to college, which they didn't, they didn't even finish middle school. and my parents had gone to college, they would have been first gen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because my sisters and I, we were considered first gen, but I didn't think about it until my own child was graduating. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
But would you, if your grandparents would have went to school and your parents didn't, would that still put you in to being first gen? Okay, you wouldn't be after that. Okay. Because I was always considering myself not to even be that because of the fact that I had so many cousins that went to college.
If your parents didn't go to college, you're a first gen.
Got it. Okay. Well, I'm first gen.
Yep.
Mom went to a community college in Seattle, and they both were in the Air Force. And my dad started college; they just never finished, and they weren't sitting around like I knew that it was a thing, but they weren't sitting around like, "Yep, I completed college, so you're going to college." It was me instinctively.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had friends whose parents were like, their lives were planned for them. My best friend Teresa, I mean, she was a ballerina for many years, and it was and played an instrument, so it was always expected that she was going to go to college, major in music, dance, blah blah blah. Like that was always the expectation. You know, I didn't.
And so everything that she did,
she's not going to be out here having kids or working. Like she didn't work. You know, her parents paid for all of her things, whereas I worked and went to school, and so it was a little bit like I knew, you know, that there was a different type of educational nurturing from her parents in comparison to mine.
That's interesting. Yep, definitely adding this to my. Let's see. What did your let's see, why did you? Oh, did you get advice from other sources outside of school?
No, not really. I didn't have anybody sitting around me saying, go to school, go to school.
Right.
No.
Yep.
It wasn't until I got here and started working here that people were like, go to school, it's free.
Right. So I would consider that to be not in your youth, but in your adulthood. That's when you began to get more advice in what it would be to be a college student.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So those two sections, this section is now, well, I'm sorry, what was it? So the first section was general biological information. I meant to say that. The other one was experience with education. Now this one is experience with college. So did you already have family and friends attending the same college?
At that time, no. But I had the experience of having a sister who had gone to a college here in the system. And so I was aware of what it would be like, but
you mean the UNC system? Okay.
But not directly at WSSU, no.
Okay. How would you describe the college you attended? You also work at?
I mean, I love it. I think that WSSU has gone through a lot of transition, and I think that all institutions go through it. And being on the inside, as I've been here for as long as I've been here, I think WSSU had an amazing evening and weekend program back when I was actually in that program. Excuse me. I think I can't imagine that I would have finished my degree if we had not had the evening and weekend, because that's when I took my classes. You know, that wasn't during a time when your boss would say, oh, it's okay, you can take a class at lunch, use your lunch break. No, it wasn't during that time. Like you legit had to go to school after work.
So do we not have the evening and weekend program anymore? I mean, it's like when you're saying it, I remember that being a staple and I haven't heard it.
It used to be housed over in the Anderson Center, where HR is now. That whole wing of Anderson Center was the evening and weekend program.
So what has taken that place, or have they?
They pushed to the online
Okay. So
classes,
not in person.
but there's no separate. There was a separate evening and weekend like college. So it was like, you know how you apply for the School of Nursing and you do everything for the School of Nursing in the Department of Nursing, the School of Nursing. That's how it was for evening and weekend. Every class you took to finish your degree, you went to the evening and weekend program. You didn't go to the departments because evening and weekend handled advising for everything. They helped you register. It was like having your own registrar and advisor, but specifically just for evening and weekend courses. Yeah.
Huh.
So, I mean, I think at that time, and that was early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Like I said, how old is Ian?
Right. I have to do the math. You know, that was really, we were ahead of our game then. Like, that was insane. It made it so convenient. And I remember I had one teacher, I don't think she's alive anymore. She taught a Native American course. And, you know, you had to take electives. And I was like, I'm going to take a Native American course. But I remember she was the coolest. She was a really caring instructor. She was very big on cultural diversity and just recognizing that, you know, WSSU is an HBCU, but, you know, there are indigenous people out here who, you know, they want to get an education too. And I just remember her class. She was just like, you know, this is not a white black thing. This is a people of color thing. This is a people, you know, these are the people who the land belonged to, and they were told they couldn't go to school. They were told they couldn't live here. They were, you know, all these things they were told. And I just remember coming out of our class like with respect. You know, for the fact that we have HBCUs, but also that now, you know, we do have a few indigenous people serving institutions. So I thought that was cool.
That was super interesting.
UNC
That's why I love higher ed, man. I'm sorry, you were going to say UNC Pembroke?
That's our indigenous serving institution.
Yeah. Let's see. Before you arrived, what expectations did you have about what college life would be like?
I thought that it would be, you just read, you turn in a paper, and that was it. Like, you know, sort of like a high school in that there wasn't really a whole lot of interaction. It was just kind of the expectation was you get the assignment, you do it. But that wasn't really the case. It was like people actually wanted you to talk and get to know you and share and engage. And it's like,
because now that you're here, you're not in high school. You decided to come to a space of higher learning. So I need to hear more from you. So that makes sense. Yeah.
And so it, you know, we learned firsthand what the whole, this isn't the 13th grade type thing. You know, you learn in college, you can't just go to class and sit in class. Like you have to actually engage, because a percentage of your grade
is participation.
So in high school, it was just like, you're done, but you actually have to participate. I think for me, that wasn't something I expected. I didn't expect for people to really want to hear what I thought about a subject. So that was definitely different.
All right, this is, let me see. Oh, describe well, you already did kind of, sort of, but describe the faculty at your college.
I mean, I had cool faculty. I think the only one I didn't like was I had to take a statistics for behavioral sciences. And he had the thickest accent and I could not understand him. And that frustrated me. And I didn't do well in the class because I couldn't understand him. So I had to retake it. But outside of that, no, I think I had good experiences with faculty and staff.
Okay. Describe any career counseling or advisement you may have received. And this is very interesting because it's not you. It's not that I'm talking to a student who just graduated high school. I'm talking to an adult who decided later to go back. So that's going to be. I'll make sure to add that. But yeah,
I think I don't know that I got had a whole lot of conversations about it. I mean, again, I think Dr. Powell was like, "You hear? It's free. Get it done." I think that I started when she started giving me career advice. I don't know that I don't think I really got career advice early on in my career. I think, I fell into a lot of the positions. It was kind of like, oh, you can do this. Can I? Yeah, you can. Okay. And then I did it. I think the only job I did that I didn't like was when I worked in undergrad admissions and had to enter applications. That I thought my brain was going to die. Ooh. I just couldn't do it. So
you would have paper applications that you would have to then into the system. It's an oxymoron situation.
But yeah, all that information in Banner, now it's all electronic. But back then, you'd have stacks of applications that you literally would.
Whew. Jeez Louise.
And so I think that I started getting career advice probably after my position as over student organizations, when I started picking up other areas, when I started doing really good with budgets and doing really good with working with the students in that capacity. I think that's when it was kind of like, so, you're kind of good at this. Have you given it some thought? But outside of that, no, I didn't really have anybody saying, oh, you'd be good at this or you'd be good at this. It was just kind of, that was really the only time.
Okay. How did you come to pick your major? And what was your major?
My major was interdisciplinary studies with a focus in social work. Originally, it was social work, period. But I was pregnant. We had I remember this. We had a speaker come into our class. I was in that class where it's like introduction to social work. And I remember she came in and she talked about how, how does she put it? Like if the court, if a child gets taken away from their parent, the court will give the child back. And so I was like, oh, okay, I expect that. I said, so, I remember asking the lady, like, what if the person beats their child and the child is taken away? And she was like, oh, yeah, that happens all the time. She's like, yeah, they go to anger management, a parenting course, and then the kids are given back. And I was just like,
Aye.
Right. I was like, I don't think I can do this. And, I specifically wanted to go into working with children.
Yeah.
And so I remember after that class, I went up to my instructor and I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. Now granted, it probably was the hormones because I was pregnant.
But the way that you care about young people.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
It would have took you out every day. You wouldn't have been able to walk away from that every day. No. You would have had more children in your home than plants and pets.
Yes. And so I knew that I wanted to still have a touch on the sociology, social work piece. But I also knew that I was very close to graduating and I could not afford to switch course and, take on more debt trying to take more classes. So I was able to kind of plug in some of the classes that I had already taken and do the interdisciplinary studies with the social work and get out.
To complete it.
Yep.
Okay. What experience? This is really having you talk about yourself right here. What did I just do? Yikes. What experience led you to want to pursue women? Did you graduate education?
I haven't finished my graduate education, but
But you're currently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Let me get this right so I can have my space for my answers. Well, what led you to pursue?
Some of it was peer pressure. Some of it was insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it was having a child who's on the spectrum and realizing that I raised a whole kid who graduated from college.
Come on.
You know, who's on the spectrum and is alive and thriving. And
very much so.
If I could do that, I could help other kids like him. And so that's really him graduating from having him and him graduating from college with a 3.8 GPA just made me feel like, right. Right. That
undergraduate? Jesus. Come on.
That was what kind of tipped me off the ledge and was like, okay. And so that's when I enrolled in here to get my master's in special education.
Okay. What was the most valuable aspect of attending your college?
I was like, first of my advisor, Dr. Whitehurst, she is thebomb.com. I think that she really understands what it means to be an adult learner. I listen to other people who are working on their masters, and it's like, you got to take classes in the fall, in the summer, in the spring, and and she's like, look, you got 6 years to finish this program. She's like, you know, we all have other responsibilities.
My God.
You know, do what you can when you can. But she would say, you know, she would always let me know, like, now, if you're going to take this class, it is only offered in the summer. You know, and she's like, before you can take this class, you've got to take this class, which is only in the summer. So she really did a good job of preparing me to understand that there was a point, and there will be a point before I finish this program, that I will have to take on a little bit of weight, because I have to do a specific class in the fall. I have to take something in the summer, 1 and 2, and then I have to take a class in the fall, and then I have to go. And you know, she was very like specific about it, but all the other classes, she was like, take your time, girl, take your time.
Okay.
And I think that was important, because it made me feel like, okay, you know, because again, I'm listening to other people and they're like, oh no, I have to take this 6-week class or this whatever week class in the summer session 1, and then I have to take another one in summer session 2, and then I have to take 2 classes per session. I'm like, how do you do that work, take care of a family
as an adult, right?
And not lose your mind? Because it
can. Jeez.
And I almost did. That's why I had to take a break, because I was taking like 3 classes at a time. I had to stop.
Like, even me taking the 2 classes that I have taken, and just all the things that were just happening to me this year, I was like, if
I will never take 2 classes and work full time. If it takes me 5 years to finish this master's, guess what? I got 6. Okay. And the thing is, like, when I did the 2, I did it, but my thought was 3. The 2, I made it through, and I understand what it's going to take to do 2. To do 3, I would have to, it would just have, okay. So, you know, but to have an advisor that, and my current advisor, he's actually the professor for this class that I'm interviewing for. The way that he walked me through and, you know, showed me what I should do, what I could do. He's the one that told me this summer, hey, Shalee, this is a 2-week class. Take it, get out the way. I mean, but it wasn't like take it and get out the way. He's like, you're going to make it through this class. You did well with the other classes. But to have an advisor that
keeps it real, but also keeps it real.
Yeah, like you're human. You're I mean, you are a mom. You're an aunt. You're a sister. You're a daughter. You work. You have businesses. You wear all these hats. You're a soror. You know, we have so many things pulling at us. And there are people who they don't have kids. They don't have anybody to be responsible for but themselves.
As soon as they get home, they can just sit and work.
Right. I couldn't continue to do that to my kids and to my husband, because what would happen is I would get home, I would feed the animals, and then I was on the computer.
Yep.
Working until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. You know, and it's like the kids are doing their thing, hubby's doing his thing, pets are doing their thing, and I'm and it was Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even when we had to travel for work, you know, I couldn't go out and do the social stuff that everybody was doing while we were on travel, because I had papers due and Zooms to get on, because I had professors who were like, I don't care if you're traveling, you know, like you got to be here. And it was just like, so, you know, for me, if I didn't have all of those other things, then yeah, I'd be taking 2-3 classes.
Yeah.
But there's no way. It's not fair for me to expect my children to figure out how to feed themselves, and my animals to figure out how to feed themselves, and my husband to feel like he has to do everything.
Right.
You know, while, you know, granted, he was like, I'm supporting you, but there's a difference between supporting and me making the conscious choice to kind of selfishly say, I'm going to take all these classes and you figure it out.
Yeah.
So.
What areas would you suggest could be strengthened, changed, or improved at your university?
I think the first thing would be more programs that work and are geared toward working adults. I think that for me, when I turned 50, I was like, oh, okay, what am I going to do with the second half of my life? And, you know, as much as I love WSSU, this is not where I want to sunset. So for me, it was like, oh, okay, you know, I love kids. I wouldn't mind being a teacher. I'll be one of those grumpy old Black teachers that love on the kids. And, you know, someday they come back and visit me. And it was my first grade, you know, like that. But I also think that there needs to be more courses that are kind of professional level courses. So like, I don't know. I mean, I think there should be some education, some kind of after the party kind of courses. So like education, but with the education, there shouldn't be this mandatory, you have to be in the classroom for 6 months. You know, that's the downside of the master's program for me. I will have to take off work for a semester to be in the classroom to finish my degree. And so I'm trying to get all the stuff right up to it and hope that I can find a way to financially make that happen. If not, I'm going to have to switch majors, and all of that work will have been for waste.
Yeah.
And I'm open to that, but I do feel like there needs to be some, you know, especially in things like education. You know, we have life experience, and we don't necessarily need to be in the classroom for 6 months to be able to teach kids, because guess what? We deal with these kids, these grown kids, all day.
And then I gotta go deal with these
little kids. I think that there should be more, not more focus, but support for adult learners where it pertains to how to do the process of going to college. I think that I'm we're blessed. We work at an institution, and so we know the process. But
Mm-hmm.
as someone who, may not work in the environment, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes is what deters people from wanting to go to college. And then I think, like I said, again, more practical. So English majors, business majors, but it doesn't need to be business like small business, like business, how to manage an office,
Mm-hmm.
how to life skills,
Mm-hmm.
those sorts of things. And I mean, some people will say, oh, well, that's what you go to the community college for. But
well, that's disrespectful to say that the only place you can learn those sort of skills would be in that's the problem with people who don't know as much as they need to know about finances.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if you want to learn that, you can just I'm here in a higher ed.
Yeah. Look at our students. They don't know how to do simple things.
They don't know how to write in cursive.
No. They don't know how to address envelopes.
Right. Okay. Would you advise members of your family or friends to attend this college?
Yes, I would actually. Even though I work here and this place makes me crazy and I don't understand all the politics sometimes, I know that feeling I feel every graduation when they call the students' names, and I'm just like,
every time. Oof.
I just cry and I get chills, and I realize that
I just got chills. That's crazy.
Because we love them, they love us, and I think that is what. So yes, I would definitely. I would. Knowing what I know from the inside, I wouldn't let that hinder me from suggesting our institution.
And would it? All right, this is the last section: experience with graduate school, if relevant. So, why did you decide to pursue a graduate degree, and what is your graduate degree?
Well, I've already told you that, but I chose, again, anxiety. I think there was a stage where we were all kind of pressured. There was definitely some peer pressuring going on. I think for a period of time, I thought, oh, it's going to get me more money. And then, like I said, it was because of my son. And so that's when I decided Masters of Art in Teaching with a focus in special education.
Gotcha. What did your college experience prepare you for graduate school?
It prepared me to know that group projects suck.
I have not had any yet. Thank you.
And that nobody truly pulls their own weight in a group project. Everything I've done for this program has been group work. And it has been difficult. Because you have people, you have some that are already in the classroom. And so there's language that makes sense to them because they speak that language every day. But when you have this program is supposed to be for people who are not in the classroom to get them ready to be in the classroom. But it's all online. And so you're kind of forced to, and a lot of it is not, it's what, asynchronous? I think, what's the one you don't see the teacher? It's the one where you don't see the teacher. Like everything is put into Canvas, you turn it in.
That's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, like 70% of my courses are with an instructor. You meet once a week or twice a week. And then the rest of them, you just log into Canvas and it's there. You turn in the assignments and go on about your life. And I think that's It's crazy. And I think that, honestly, that's what I have been kind of prepared for.
Gotcha. Were there ways in which you felt unprepared for graduate school?
Yes. I did not know how much writing.
Oh my God.
I mean, the writing. The writing. I would just write a 6-page paper.
Right. I remember from the last two classes, like right at the end, the one was requiring a 5 to 7 page. Do not include the title page or the
right,
or your citation.
Right.
And I was like, all right, cool. That's 5 to 7. I got that. Then the other class was like a 10 to 15 page. Do not include. I said, oh, and I felt like the night that I was typing that 15-page paper. No, it wasn't 10 to 15. It was 15-page paper, period. I was typing and I looked and I was at 9 pages. I was like, how am I just at 9? Where are the other 6 pages coming from? Where are they coming from?
Yeah.
And I got it done. And the way I figured it out worked out very well. But it took even more time to get it done. But I got it done. But the 15 pages.
And the reading, it's like, read 1 through 3.
30 pages each.
And it's like, 150 pages. And you're like,
when's the last time I read a novel? And you got me doing this?
I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm a reader. I read every day. However, that is a pleasure.
I want to read.
It's because I want to read, not because I have to read.
But I'm thankful that sometimes the journals that I'm reading, sometimes I'm like, And it's the way that the person writes. I'm enjoying reading it. But some of those things that are very analytical and data and stuff, I skim because I can't retain it.
And that's another thing. I think I learned how you retain information in your 20s is very different in your 40s and 50s. So for me, I was in classes that consisted of people who were significantly younger than me. I mean, this is before I turned 50. I mean, I would be the 40-something with a bunch of 20-somethings, and so for me, I'd have to ask the same question multiple times because my brain was like, really? Really? What is it? Buffering. The whole thing is spinning, but nothing's happening. I'm frozen. And so I will say that was the hardest part. It was just, again, the writing, the reading, like the quantity, because I love to read, but the quantity of reading every week and then retaining the information. I didn't know how to take notes. I don't think that note-taking is something that is taught. And so I remember I would take, notes the way in which I took them in high school. So it was like, certificate is a document that is blah, 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 word for word out of the text. And it wasn't until I started working in the hall within academic affairs that I learned that there's like a whole world of note-taking techniques out there. And so I remember, because some of our instructors require
share that with me because that looks like something I need to start studying.
Yeah. So I had one instructor that would require us to go to the writing center to have our papers reviewed at the writing center, and it'd have to be documented and then uploaded and blah, blah, blah. But I remember going and saying, I don't know how to take notes. I don't think, I find myself writing the whole damn book.
And then I go back to read my notes, which I'm actually reading the whole book again. Yeah.
Right. And so I took, I took some sessions. I signed up for sessions on learn how to take notes. Now, granted, my brain is still going back to the old way, but I do think that is something that as an adult student in graduate school, you're not prepared for it. You're not prepared to know how to take notes. You're not prepared to have to read hundreds of pages a week and retain it. You're not prepared to write 7 to 20 page papers you're not prepared to know how to do a citation.
I'm thankful in this class. One of our first assignments, I think on day 2, was for us to read and review chapter 1 through 7 of the APA style. And it made me appreciate the APL manual, because when I was actually reading what it was saying, I'm learning the history of why it's important and why taking those resources and giving them their space of acknowledgement, because these people did the work, even though you're adding to their work. But grad school is a whole nother beast, and I think it's something that I really appreciate, because it, like you said, undergrad it's one thing, but graduate school
is a beast. It's a whole nother animal.
And it really does prepare you. I don't care what nobody. Graduate school is preparing me wherever I'm going into next. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What is one of your strongest memories? Sorry, these questions are just good questions. That's why they kind of stretch a bit. Sorry. What are some of the strongest memories of your graduate school experience? Other than
hitting my first A in college.
I'm trying to hold on to this 4.0. Lord Jesus, please help me.
Well, I lost my 4.0, but I'm at a 3.8.
Hey, I can do that.
And I mean, and she is an amazing teacher, and she made me work. And she called me on it, and she called me out. She called me in, she called me out. She called me up, she called me down. She was like, Katrina, I mean, I had to work for that B+ girl. I had to work. But I think that for me, having a 4.0, I had never in any of my college experiences. And that's probably because I really didn't care. I was just kind of like, I'm going to get
Let me finish. Right.
But with my master's, it's like, oh, this is what I want to do with the second half of my life. So I better pay attention and really retain. And part of this has to do with what I do on a daily basis. And so, when I got my first 2 A's, I was like, oh, you can't tell me nothing. I'm smart.
Come on.
So I think that was, and just realizing that I am learning about something at a level that other people will never learn. Anybody can, again, I think that we all know time has changed. So back in the day, you didn't have to have a degree to be a teacher. You were some nice woman, because men weren't really teachers. You were some nice woman who was great with kids, and you became a teacher. And then over time, you were required to have education. But there is something to be said about being in master level classes and learning about this stuff and realizing that there are people who will never learn this stuff at this level. And that's an inspiration.
It is. No, it's a good point. Last 4 questions. Okay. This is current experience. Who or what influenced your choice of career?
My mother. My mother was a payroll officer. Payroll administrator. She was a manager. She was mad good. I mean, just stupid good with numbers. And I remember as a little girl, I would go to work with her. She worked at a law firm. And I remember going in and playing with the check makers, where it had you put the paper in and you pull the handle down, and then honey, I was in there making checks. Okay. Making checks. I was paying the people. the calculators with the tape and and I just remember like her love of numbers, and I've never been strong with numbers, but I've always been fascinated by them, and that came from my mother.
And that brought you into, because I mean, my first memory of who you were in your career was budgeting. So this influenced you to look into doing budgeting?
Yeah. Watching my mom deal with people's payroll and listening to her talk about the issues that she used to have, I was like, I like troubleshooting. I don't quit easy when it comes to numbers.
Well, I'm glad you was inspired, because anybody sitting beside me with numbers, I'm staring right back at you like, well, what is the answer? I call you just about every year when it's time for us to do our health thing. I'm like, Katrina, I don't know. And all I got to do is read. I just don't want to read. I know you already know it.
That's
okay. Okay. Rounding this off, what area of financial aspects, what area of financial aspects of higher learning do you work in? Or I'll say, have you worked in, right? Or do, because
I do.
Well, start from the.
I'll start from the beginning. So previously, I was responsible for marketing budgets for marketing materials. Then I moved into being responsible for budgets for an entire unit. That was when I was in student development with Natasha Jeter. And what that entailed was, it was programming, it was planning experiences for the students, and managing grant funding from the federal government, and making sure that we were spending our monies appropriately based on the rules of the grants. And then from there, it became, I don't know how you would describe what I did when I was in USAE. I mean, it was a unit.
It was a dump all.
It was a dump all. I mean, I was responsible for spending, contracts, all of it. You know, any financial aspect that had to do with business.
Balancing the budget.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
And so now
you and Ms. Young will be looking at each other like, they want us to balance this.
And so now I'm in the same kind of role, but it's for the division. So it's more areas.
For the Division of Student Affairs? Okay. That's not how you spell it. Okay. Last two. What training was needed for you to perform your task in financial aspects for higher education?
Banner. Financial applications. Basic math. Knowing who to talk to. And policies and procedures. Knowing the language and learning the language. Anybody can manage their own budget, but when they start talking about auxiliary services and fixed assets, and you're like, what? Can I have a life example, a real-time example for that, please? Yeah. So those would be the things that you have to have, you have to get training, experience.
That's right on point. All right. Last question. I appreciate you, and I thank you so much, sis. This is right on point. Is there anything else you would like to share or comment on? And I would say comment on as far as, because this class is financial aspects of higher education. Is there anything that you would like to share when it comes to that area?
I think it's important for, no matter what your level of, whatever your title, it's important to know your budget. And it's important to understand what the budget means. Not just you got $100,000 to last you from July to June. No, you need to understand that what comes out of that 100,000 that you can't touch. You know, that copy machine that you be copying on, there's money for that. You can't touch it. Those phones you talk on, there's money out there for that. You can't touch it. You know, there's understanding what the different types of funding that comes into a higher education is important as well, too. So you have state, you have grant, you have student fees, and knowing it's important on all levels to know about that. Because there are times I've been, and I'm learning now. I mean, I've got notes for days, but there are times where you're in meetings and they'll start throwing around these terms, student fees and grants and state funds. And you're like, you know, yeah. And you don't know what you can and can't do with them. You know, so like people don't know it's a grant. You can't buy food. State funds, you can't buy food. But you don't, as an everyday employee, you don't know that. And so it's important, even if you're hired as the office manager or the executive assistant to whoever, it's important, I think, that you still get some sort of training or are pushed into a direction that you learn some of the basic language where it pertains to how your institution is funded and what you can and can't do with those different types of funds. Because it makes a difference in the questions you ask. So like if you come and say, hey, Katrina, you know, and we're grant funded, I want us to have a popsicle party and bouncy houses. You can't pay for that with a grant.
Because if it's not tied into your initial
narrative, we can't do it. You know, now if it were student fees, you can. And so just knowing, I think I didn't know about that until I was in Hill Hall.
Like it's money, but it's not.
I had no idea. I had no idea that you could and couldn't, you know, even though I dealt with grant money from the federal government, it was for safe sex practices. And it was with Samsung. And so anything goes with that. They know you feed them. They know you got to buy condoms. They know you have to buy, you know, penis models, and vagina models, and all that stuff. You know, okay. You know, you knew that was part of the grant and that it was okay. But when you have a grant and you work in academic affairs and your area is responsible for programming, in your mind, you're not thinking, oh, why can't I buy food with grant money? Because part of what I do is programming. And programming sometimes equals food.
Got to feed the people.
And so I think that that's really important. Understanding the language of the money, where it comes from, what can and can't be done, I think should be learned on all levels of employment in higher ed.
All right. Well, thank you. This is going to be so on point.
I hope so.
Oh, it's on point. Like because now I was typing some stuff in. I'm going to go back and listen in again real quick, and I'm gonna fill this in and turn this in by 5 o'clock and be done for the weekend.
All right.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you for taking some time to be my interviewee. Love you.
Love you.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I get out of here?
I'm about to end the studio.
Let me out.
I'm gonna end it.
Okay.